Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Tomorrow Guys. I'm Shaylor.
I'm Jonathan.
And we just want to take this time to talk about some of the stuff that came out last week at D23.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. I was on vacation and I was still trying to check. I was trying to check stuff on the phone, and Shaylor was supposed to be sending me updates. You did some.
Yeah, I mean, I also have to work too.
Yeah, but it was. If you're a Disney fan, wow, there was a lot of news coming out last week.
So basically, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go park by park, and we're going to discuss some of the news that came out. We definitely have some opinions on it. I mean, some of it is just our subjective view on what's going on.
Wow, that starts me out immediately. Let's go right to Epcot.
Yeah, let's start with Epcot. So there's some major things that came out about Epcot. The first thing is some of this we knew was coming, but they're going to put in a Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Ellen's Universe of Energy.
I got really mixed emotions about this. It just doesn't seem that it's in the spirit of Epcot. I mean, I think it'd probably be a great, we don't know what they're going to do. They haven't said it, right? But it's just like I did watch the whole presentation, and when the gentleman was basically justifying the story within the world of Epcot and what Epcot means.
He visited visited Epcot.
I just, and you guys don't know this, but I'm a creative director, 30, basically 28 years in advertising and design and developing messaging and things.
By his design.
By my design. But I really felt, Shaylor, like he was just snowballing us they were just making up an excuse so they could put the attraction in there. So I'm not saying it's not going to be a great attraction. It just doesn't feel like Epcot to me.
Yeah, and I mean, the truth is we're not going to know until we actually go and sit down and ride it. But, I'm 34 years old. I'm fortunate enough that I actually got to visit Epcot and have some vague memories of Epcot in the late 80s. And so that really kind of is cemented its way into my idea of what Epcot should be. Another thing about the Universe of Energy attraction, I know it's not necessarily everybody's favorite because it's like 45 minutes long. And it's dated. But you know what? Once you are in those ride vehicles and you start moving and you go back in time where the dinosaurs are, and it's just to me, that's just man, that's a throwback to the Grand Canyon concourse at Disneyland. And it just feels
I really do believe they could have updated it. And they are keeping the building according to the sketch. I mean, the sketch is very Herb Ryman-esque, style illustration on it, but the sketch shows the building. I mean, it's the same building. It's just reskinned. I mean, it looks like it's got a new paint job or something on it.
If I'm not mistaken, they are building on behind it, right? They're expanding the building.
They do have, we do know there has been paperwork filed with the county to extend or to build out in that area, behind it. So I don't know if that's part of it or if they have other announcements. So they said it's going to be ready by 2021?
That's what I think so.
And that's one of the things that as we go through, this is what's really amazing about a lot of these announcements. A lot of this stuff they're saying is going to be finished by 2021, which will be
the anniversary
50th of Disney World.
So
it opened in 1971. What's the next thing on the list? Do we want to stay in the park and just go down the road?
Yeah, we'll go down. So if you from that position in the park, if you just kind of move clockwise, next you see Mission Space, and so now they're going to have, from what I understand, two different tracks or two different types of missions. They're going to keep the original, the orange mission, and then in the green mission, they're doing something new. Yeah,
I mean, it sounded like it's going to be kind of a flight over the Earth versus a flight to Mars. So it sounds very much in a little bit
like Rocket to the Moon.
Well, I was actually thinking it was a little bit kind of like Soarin' in a way, It's kind of more interactive. But it's supposed to be a gentler ride. It's supposed to be more family friendly. I mean, for you that don't know, Mission Space is a very turbulent ride. It's basically a giant centrifuge that spins you. You don't really feel the spinning. You feel the centrifugal force. But I know people that have turned their heads and gotten really sick.
Hey, I mean, look, they've got vomit bags in the ride, you know? I mean, what does that tell you? So, I hope you don't ever have to use it, but yeah, they got vomit bags.
That's a neat thing, and I think they can do that pretty quick. What I'm really excited about is what goes next to it.
Yeah. The new restaurant, I think, is going to be amazing.
It looks like old. Now, this looks like old Epcot. I mean, and not that it's not new, but it looks like it's in that whole genre of what is attainable in the near future.
Yeah. For me and my wife, as far as dining goes, don't get me wrong, we love great food, but atmosphere is very important to us. Yeah. And one thing that Disney does very well is they can create a great atmosphere. And like the San Angelo Inn, I mean, I'm not trying to get off topic here, but personally, I think the food, we live in Texas. We have great Tex-Mex food. Right. So when we go have like Tex-Mex style food somewhere else, it's just kind of like, we're snobs about it. I don't know how else to tell you. And so you go to the San Angelo Inn, love the atmosphere, love sitting there next to the pyramid.
The food sucks.
And the food is awful. Yeah, I mean, it's just... Awful. But anyway, who knows what the food's going to be like? I don't even know what kind of food they're going to serve. But having that ride Mission Space next to...
And let's talk about it real quick. I mean, it's not like Star Wars. It's like, very near future kind of space station style restaurant with a view out to space. But it's not like, like Star Wars creatures or sci-fi creatures. This is more like real life space dining. I mean, I think that's the style of it, which goes hand in hand with Mission Space, which is really cool. I don't know are they going to build another building?
I don't know.
They didn't go into a lot of detail.
There are lounges in Epcot.
Right.
There's lounges, like corporate lounges in each of the ride buildings. So like Siemens, who just is pulling out of Spaceship Earth. Right. If you look on the back of Spaceship Earth, right underneath the ball, there's those windows right there. That's the Siemens lounge. So I'm pretty sure that there's a lounge. It's an HP. HP sponsors.
Right.
Or did.
That may be where it goes.
They may put it in there. Yeah. But, you got to think about, like, you got to put a kitchen in there. You got to do all sorts of stuff. Man, I will tell you, I mean, I was fortunate enough to ride Horizons when I was a little boy. I love Mission Space, but I really was hoping that there would be some type of, like, recreation of Horizons in this announcement.
Remember, Walt, always forward, never backwards. So they're going forward.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
How about the other big announcement for Epcot, which is at the back of the park?
Yeah, so they're putting in a Ratatouille ride, and so there is one of those rides at Disneyland in Paris. It's in the second park. It's not in the Disneyland park, but it's in the studios, the Paris Studios park. Neither of us have been to Disneyland Paris. I'm sure that now that we're trying to do a show, we're going to find a way to go. Yeah. I've been fortunate enough to go to Hong Kong Disneyland, and I just want to say that because he hasn't. But so the Ratatouille ride, it's a trackless ride system, from what I understand.
He always tries to outdo me.
But
from what I've read, and I haven't even really watched a video of that ride, pretty phenomenal ride from what I hear.
Yeah,
it's a combination of 3D and trackless, and I've seen some still images from it. It looks pretty cool. I'm kind of excited. What I'm really excited about is they're not taking anything out of France. They're actually extending beyond the current country borders. So they're adding but not taking anything away, because you and I have talked about this. I love the French film. They need to update it. It was done in like late 1980s or early 1990s. It's an old film, but it's beautiful and it's got great music. And I love that theater. You haven't been in it. See, something I've done, he hasn't. But the theater is it's really a cool old-fashioned style theater. It's a great place if it's hot outside to get, 20 minutes or 25 minutes of air conditioning. But they're not getting rid of that. So I'm really happy. And that's been, as we get further down the road on these announcements, that's been really the surprise to me of the whole thing, is they're adding things without taking anything away.
For the most part.
So that's it for Epcot.
Well,
right?
So like for Epcot, I sit there and I think about, like, Spaceship Earth is I mean, just off the top of my head, might be my favorite ride in Epcot. But we still have we have mixed feelings about Marvel being in Epcot, because now you're going to walk into Epcot and you're going to have you had all these pavilions that they started when they built Epcot, and now it's like you've got a Marvel thing in there, but then you still have the land pavilion. It just seems like it's
they did retheme Seas with Nemo,
and right? they're updating that to they're retheming that too. Living
with the Seas? I didn't see
that. So that's going to become, unless I just had a wild dream, in the Finding Dory movie.
Yeah.
That place that they went?
Oh, yeah, they are going to do that. Yeah. You're right. It's going to become the Institute or whatever.
Yeah, the Marine Life Institute.
Marine Life Institute. I think that's a simple rebrand, though.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't think they're going to do anything major. Is you can retheme that to the Marine Life Institute and then kind of make it refit back into the vision of the Living Seas.
It gets much closer to the original vision, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I got to ride the Living Seas and go through that pavilion, and it was awesome. I mean,
should we talk about the stuff they didn't announce? I mean, let's be real honest. We all thought that they were going to announce at least a new country in the World Showcase, if not two. I think the leading rumor was Brazil.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked they didn't announce a new country.
Yeah, I mean, and we all know that there's plenty of room back there for them to add stuff. Yeah. And I mean, I guess that you just can't, fire all your bullets at once.
I'll tell you what, if you go to Google Earth and you look, there's plenty of room to add probably 4 or 5 countries. They've got the room around the lagoon to do that. And I think we may not have heard the last of the upgrades to Epcot. I think that I really do believe they need to come in and add another country.
Well, I'm wondering, even
if it's just one.
This is just my opinion. I'm not saying that I think they do have future plans to add all that stuff, but they only have a short window of time to get all those things done before the anniversary. Right. So I'm just wondering if
maybe it's one too many things.
Yeah. I mean, because they need to be firing on all cylinders.
The anniversary for Epcot is 82. Was it open in 82?
Yeah, 82.
So the Epcot anniversary would be the next year.
Right.
And that would be the 10, 20, 30, 40th anniversary of Epcot.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe they're going to announce it a little later. That's Epcot. Do we want to take the monorail over, or do we want to take the boat to the next one? I'm thinking we go for the big news we already know about, but Hollywood Studios. We got more in-depth news on Star Wars Land with a huge model, which I'm a model freak.
Yeah, if you guys haven't taken the time to go look at the new Star Wars Land model, I would tell you. I mean, I think you can just type in Star Wars Land model on YouTube, and you're going to get a great look at it.
I might put links in the show notes to some of those visuals and things. Yeah, the most impressive thing to me was the little fly-through they did of the model. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
That was really this land is going to be huge, and I don't think anything in theme park world comes close. Maybe Harry Potter, which you've done, but this is like twice as big as that. I mean, it's huge. It's 17 acres.
Yeah.
What I heard.
Well, I mean, it does seem like this is Disney's response to Harry Potter World. I mean, the Harry Potter World was by far the most immersive, impressive thing that I think I'd seen. Right. And then, so, Disney had to come back and I mean, they're topping it. I mean, it looks like it's just going to be phenomenal.
Well, I think they're doing more than topping it. Then they're adding, the Toy Story Land. And the big shock of the D23 is it's going to be ready next summer.
So for Toy Story Land, there actually is a Toy Story Land at Disneyland Hong Kong. And so when my wife and I were there, we did all those rides. And so, it does seem like that it's going to be a little bit different, a little bit more impressive than the Hong Kong one. Because basically the Hong Kong one is, there's a parachute ride, there's a slinky go-around roller coaster, and a couple other things. But it's just,
The roller coaster looks large.
Yeah, it's much larger than the Hong Kong one.
So it looks really cool. But I think everybody was shocked that they said it's going to be ready next year.
Yeah.
I do believe this. I believe that all those construction workers that were working on Pandora they just took them and moved them over to Hollywood Studios to really amp up the construction. So I think that's, I think they're really trying to get as much stuff out as quickly as possible at this point in response to Universal Studios. Is that it for? Is there anything else?
That's not it.
What else at Universal Studios?
This one hurts.
Not Universal, at the studios.
At Hollywood Studios, this one hurts. And they're taking out, and
Yes.
I mean, they're taking out the Great Movie Ride.
This is the one casualty of the whole thing.
Yeah,
This is the one
and so
casualty.
that was still the only opening day attraction that was still in the Hollywood Studios, and for me, like, and what's sad to me is that I'm not going to get to go ride it again because I think they're closing it. I believe
August
the
the
date
13th,
is
right?
August 13th,
Yeah.
and I remember riding that ride when I was a little kid, and especially the Wizard of Oz scene I thought was awesome when I was a kid, and then
It's still awesome.
it's still awesome, but at the time I think the witch animatronic was like
The most advanced.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw it, I thought it was a real person. No, I really did. The first time I saw it, I mean, I thought, wow, they got somebody that's just playing a witch every time. And now I can tell because there's much more advanced audio animatronics.
Well, they did kind of trick you because there is a part where the cast members in that ride went and were part of the attraction. And then I remember the alien scene as a little kid absolutely terrified me. And when I went back to ride it as an adult, I still had the feelings of terror when I knew that scene was coming. And then as an adult, I was like,
well,
this isn't
I
that
think,
big of a deal.
the thing is they lost their contract with Turner Classic Movies. They probably just didn't have the rights, or were probably going to have to pay through the nose to keep, to do something. But I thought that they would update it and do it with their own movies, which would be cool. I mean, I think Disney has enough in their lexicon now that they could do a great movie ride, but they went totally different. And
so what is it? It's going to be a Mickey's Mouse ride.
Runaway Rail.
Yeah.
And something like that. And I did watch the video. They gave us a little teaser of some of the effects. It's going to look like a flat cartoon, but it's going to be 3D. It's going to be 3D without glasses. I think they're calling it 2.5D is what they announced. So it could be cool. It's just that, is it going to be in Grauman's Chinese Theater, which is going to be weird. Maybe the idea is you're actually, the idea, I know what it is now. The idea is that you actually go into and you are part of a Mickey Mouse cartoon.
No,
so you're actually in the theater, you're watching the show, and all of a sudden, through the magic of Disney, you are now inside the cartoon. So I think that's kind of cool. And hey, Mickey Mouse has never had a ride.
Yeah.
So
he needs one.
as a loyalist to the old ways, I think Mickey Mouse does deserve a ride.
Hey, the guy's over 80 years old, he deserves it.
But
been working hard for a long time.
So that is it for Hollywood Studios.
I'm still sad to see it.
So there's not really anything to talk about at Animal Kingdom because Pandora just came out.
Which you'll hear us talk about that. We're going in November, and
we'll try to do something different than everybody else has done. We'll come up with something, but yeah, we're really excited about that. So let's hop on a bus and go up to the Magic Kingdom, and let's go right to the big news.
Yeah. So they're putting in the Tron roller coaster in Tomorrowland,
which is at Shanghai. I've seen videos of this over and over again. Phenomenal looking coaster. Just a phenomenal looking coaster. I mean, I can't wait. Can't wait. But here's the good news. Although, you know how I feel about this. They did not take out the Speedway. And I always compare it to Disneyland's Autopia, which I think is probably one of the most wonderful kid car rides out there. And, oh my gosh, boy, Tomorrowland Speedway is just boring compared to what's in Disneyland. So I'm hoping that maybe eventually they'll re-theme it, but they're actually putting it beyond the berm.
Yeah.
They're going either over or under the railroad track, and they're putting it back there, and it's going to be between Tomorrowland Speedway and Space Mountain. There's a walkway right there.
Yeah.
And the walkway's there.
Mm-hmm.
The walkway's there, and there's a little gift shop that's right beside Space Mountain. So you walk
that
down,
where the Starcade is?
Yes. And so you just walk right down that walkway, and apparently you're going to go either over or under the railroad tracks, and it's going to be Tron. And I'm just really, and if you don't know what the Tron coaster is, it's a combination indoor-outdoor coaster. You start out indoors, you go outside, and then you come back inside. And when you come back inside, it's like you're in the Tron movie. I mean, it's really cool looking. I haven't ridden it, but like I said, I've watched a lot of the videos. So that's really neat.
Anything else at the Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, and this is the thing that actually they didn't make a big deal about it, but I'm just curious about where they're going to put it. They're going to put a theater somehow adjacent to Main Street, and I don't know where it's going to go. And they're saying it's going to be a movie theater, much like the Hyperion at California Adventure.
It's a pretty big theater.
It's a big theater. So they're going to bring a Broadway-style show to the Magic Kingdom in this theater, and I just don't know where they're going to put it unless they take, my thought was when you walk into the park, as you come out from underneath the tunnel, as you're entering Main Street, over on the right, you have what's the theater now.
Maybe they're going to take out Tony's restaurant.
Which would be an improvement.
Other than that fountain.
I've eaten there. It would be an improvement. Would they do it there? Which is going to be a bummer because that means that you're going to have probably 1.5 to 2 years of construction at the front of the park. But
yeah,
I just don't see them putting a major attraction at the front of the park. I mean, the idea of Main Street is to funnel you into and then disseminate from the hub to the attractions. Right. I think maybe they're going to put it down somehow toward the end. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know where there's room. One of the thoughts I've heard discussed is, as you're walking down Main Street, the left side is all the Emporium all the way. They filled in all the little side streets, but on the right side, there's still a side street.
Right.
And one of the thoughts was they could take that backstage area, have that side street go back to a theater, which would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Let's stay in Disney World.
All right.
And I want to talk about what I'm really excited about.
All right, yeah.
And the reason, and it's going to be different than what you think I'm going to be excited about, because I'm really excited by what do they call them, the Starliners or the Skyliners?
Yeah,
which is basically
the Sky Cabs.
Yeah, and the reason I'm excited about that is I know I can do those, because the other big announcement, I don't know if I'll be able to afford that, and so they're going to connect Pop, Century, and the Art of Animation Resort, along with, I think, Caribbean Beach.
Yeah, it's basically that line that just runs all the way
out. And they're going to be they're hanging gondolas. But they look like, I think they're going to be air conditioned. They're going to be themed with characters.
Yeah.
And it's going to be another way. It's going to be transportation. It's going to be another way to get to Epcot or the studios. And
did you ever ride?
I'm actually excited about this.
So yeah, I mean it's cool because it's like they're bringing back the old Skyway. I mean, I know you didn't ride the Skyway at Disneyland, but did you ever ride the Skyway at Disney World?
Yes.
I was fortunate enough. I went to Disneyland when I was a kid. I remember I was in 3rd grade, and I got to ride the Skyway buckets through the Matterhorn, and I can still remember looking down into the Matterhorn, and that was just the coolest thing.
But these are going to be they're going to be like 10 steps better, because they're really patterned after some of these kind of Skyway transportation devices are used. One is in Portland they use, and it's really big. So this is going to be true transportation. It's not going to be just a ride. It's going to feel like a ride, but it's going to be true transportation. And so I'm excited. It's just another way to get around without having to get on a bus. And, I like the buses. I don't have a problem with the buses, but they needed more than just buses and boats.
Well, what's cool about it is, that's what Walt did. He always thought of those different ways. I mean, the monorail and the people mover. And was always looking at ways.
Sad they couldn't have done the people mover. That would have been cool.
That would have been
that'd been really cool. And so that leads to the announcement you probably thought I was going to talk about.
Yeah, the Star Wars Land Hotel.
Yeah, that the Star Wars Hotel is.
Did I say Star Wars Land Hotel? Star Wars Hotel.
It's Star Wars Hotel, and this thing, I want to stay there. I mean, I think every Star Wars fan wants to stay there already.
So, like we said in our first episode, that that we travel hack. Sometimes we travel hack our way into Disney, and doing it at a Disney hotel you can do that. It's
not the biggest bang for your buck.
It's not the best bang for your buck. So you have to sit there and you have to think, all right, am I going to save and strategize and work my reward system? And probably you would do it through Chase points. And I don't know what that would be. Like, we have no idea what level of hotel it's going to be. I assume it's going to be a deluxe.
Oh, no, it's going to be above a deluxe.
Oh, really?
Oh, I think it's going to be above it. I think that you're looking at minimum, it's going to be $500 a night. I think it's probably going to be more like $700 to $800 a night. I think because they're talking about an experiential stay where you're basically assigned your own storyline.
Right.
And the bars and the restaurants are going to be inhabited by characters. There's going to be walk around characters. So
and you get to be a character, right?
Right. You get to be, there's even talk of you having a costume. And so I'm pretty sure if it's going to come with the room, that's going to be expensive. If not, you're going to have to pay for the costumes. And I think it's going to be really, I don't know. I think it's going to be a great experience. I just think that they're going to price a lot of people out. But there'll be people like me and Shaylor that will.
Yeah,
we'll scrape every penny.
We'll find a way.
At least get 1 or 2 nights in there.
We'll find a way.
The neat thing about the hotel, and I've read this about it, is that there are no windows to the outside world. And my understanding, they say you get on a spaceship to go there.
That's like a casino.
I think it's going to be like the old. What were the things called in the old Living with the Seas pavilion that you used to go?
When you
go down to the
hydrolators or something like that.
I think it's going to be kind of like that, where you get in maybe like an elevator or something, and it's going to make you
go into outer space.
You're going to go into outer space, and then even the rooms, there's no outside window. They're going to be there'll probably be screens. And you're going to be looking in outer space.
See,
and I think that's really cool.
Like, I think it's really cool. Part of me, it completely freaks me out because, you're just like losing.
Well, I will say this. I don't think I'd want to stay in this hotel for a week. From what they've told me, I think it's a 1 or 2 night. Yeah, because when I come home, when I come back to a hotel from the parks, I want a more relaxed experience. I want to be able to relax, go out by the pool, do whatever.
Right.
And I don't think that's what this is going to be. I think this is going to be like a mini Westworld.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's going to be. But it's huge, and nobody's done anything like this.
Yeah.
And I think this is the one thing that Universal Studios is probably kicking themselves that they didn't do a Hogwarts hotel to begin with. Because I think they have probably had that in a blue sky session, and they didn't do it. Now Disney's going to do it. Let me say this.
I'd stay at Hogwarts.
Let me say that there's one other hotel. They're putting in a new DVC hotel close to the boardwalk, I think, in that area.
Yeah.
And that's for Disney Vacation Club members. But I'm going to say, Shaylor, with everything, you're talking about all the upgrades to Epcot, the Toy Story Land coming next year, and then the year after you're getting Star Wars Land, and then you're getting all the upgrades, the Tron coaster and everything they're doing in the Magic Kingdom, and things I think they haven't announced yet. Universal Studios can't counterpunch this. I don't see how. Well, first of all, they can't counterpunch it because they don't have enough land.
Yeah, well,
they can't counterpunch this. I think this is Disney's total overreaction to everything Universal's done in the last 5 years.
I think that haven't they announced a Super Nintendo World at Universal, which, to your generation, but to me, I'm like, I've heard of a Mario Kart ride coming out. For him, it'd have to be Atari World.
Nintendo, Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay, you got me on that.
Right. and the thing is that you've got so much built-in brand equity with everything with Disney, is if they really do elevate their game back up to what they know they can do, that we've seen from Pandora. We saw with Cars Land at DCA, and we haven't got to the California parks yet. But I just think that they're just basically saying, okay, Universal Studios, you had a couple of nice little lands with Harry Potter, but
that's cute.
And you got a couple of nice hotels, but
that's cute.
You don't have a Star Wars hotel, and you don't have this grand vacation club hotel, and you don't have the transportation system we have, and we're just upped our transportation system. And when the transportation system, let's just admit, for a lot of people, the monorail is an attraction.
Oh, yeah.
It is transportation, but I had a buddy of mine I took for the first time a couple of years ago. Remember you telling me?
Yeah.
He goes, when are we riding that ride? And all he wanted to do, and this grown man, all he wanted to do was he wanted to ride the boats and he wanted to ride the monorail. That was his main thing. And he still says that's his favorite ride. So, Universal Studios can't combat that. I mean, I don't see how they do. I don't see how they do it. So it's Universal Studios needs to make as much money as they can the next 3 to 4 years before all this stuff hits.
Well, because I think it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt their bottom line.
So Comcast owns Universal now, and I don't remember what the number is, but I know that they have committed to fund X amount of dollars, and it's a very large sum of money to fuel into the parks for the next few years to come. And so, but basically, Disney said to Universal, "Okay, welcome to the big leagues, kid."
That's exactly what I think they said. I mean, it's like you're playing AAA ball and we're playing in the big leagues. Let's see if you want to,
let's see if you can.
You want to ding us with a couple of doubles, and we're going to hit a couple of home runs.
Yeah,
So there's our baseball analogy.
Yeah. So that's kind of it for Disney World. Do we want to continue on Disneyland in this episode, or do we want to?
I think we should. We're going to save Disneyland for another episode.
All right.
And we've covered enough in this, but this was. It's been fun.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, though? Let us know your thoughts on some of these announcements, what your opinions are. For the most part, I think generally, I'm a little sketchy about the Marvel going into Epcot, but, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Leave us comments because we these things are formulating in our heads as we go. We don't know what the ride's going to be.
Yeah.
Not the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. We know it's not going to be a drop ride because it's going to be in the same building as Ellen's. It's going to be something totally different. But leave us comments. Hey, be sure if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. And,
go check out.
Give us a thumbs up.
Go check out the creativevisualist.com. Let us know. We got some T-shirts on there.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want to see. And I'm Shaylor.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we are
the Tomorrow Guys.